Hey everyone, it's the Angry Honey Badger, and it's time to take a look at the mid-August patch notes. They have been released. Go ahead and download all of those. If you do not have the update already happening, open your client and get that started downloading while you listen to the changes that have happened. Rengar is not out yet. That is fine, as long as they release him and he's at a good level. I will not be bothered if he is delayed, so that's fine. Other than that, diving right on in, we got Garen at the top right now. He has got a bunch of changes this patch. We have the base health has been reduced, and we have health regen per level has been reduced. Base attack damage has been reduced, but attack damage per level has been increased. Lots of different changes with all types of abilities. There's really a lot to cover. I'm just going to skim over some of the important ones. Decisive Strike's a little bit different now. The cooldown's the same at all ranks now. The movement speed is the same at all ranks now as well. And just a handful of other things. Is just everything's kind of been evened out, and a bunch of these changes are actually gonna go and help Garen be more effective late game. Garen late game just kind of becomes a huge tank. He still does plenty of damage back then, well, back before this, but this is going to make him more consistent to do the damage that he should. It just wasn't scaling quite correctly, so this will be a nice little change to Garen for this patch. Decisive Strike now crits again, which is kind of cool, which was nice to have. That was way back. Oh, all types of things change to Judgment. Damage dealt to minions is less. There's just all types of stuff that is going to be changed. But, you know, a lot of good changes are happening. So, I'm excited for the Garen changes. Maybe we'll see another build video from me. I did have a Garen build before. Obviously, his moves haven't changed, so the build is probably going to stay similar-ish. It might change. I might update it, too. But maybe I'll come work with Garen coming up, so we have a new updated build for him. Other than that, we'll move right on forward to Gangplank. His remove Scurvy has been fixed. It now removes blinds, which is good. It should have in the first place. Don't know if that was a little bug, but it's nice that it's been updated to now remove blinds as well. We have a little bit of stuff on Jace. They've improved the responsiveness of his basic attacks and his hammer stance, which is good. It needed to be updated a little bit. It was a little sluggish. And then they also fixed the basic attack after swapping the Mercury Cannon. It is more accurate or more responsive now, so that's also going to be nice. Alright, moving on to Katarina. Lots of changes with her. Veracity, which is her passive. The champion kills or assists, reduces Death Lotus' cooldown by 10 seconds. And the refresh basic abilities, which is nice. This is this the exact same way it was? No, I think the refresh is a tiny bit different on the ultimate, but that's okay. We have lots and lots of plenty of changes with other things, such as bouncing blades, which now leaves a mark, as we know. And the bouncing blades are also going to bounce a consistent rate now, instead of 1 at level 1, 2 bounces at level 2, and so on and so forth. Now it's going to bounce to the 4 closest enemies, dealing 10% less damage with each bounce. So that's going to be nice, because early game, she couldn't be shut down if you know what to look for on her, because she couldn't really do too much to poke you unless she wanted to shunpo over to you directly. So this will give her a little bit more of a poke early game. We do also now have the introduction of Sinister Steel, which will be awesome. It's going to do some damage. I didn't really like her W before. It was alright, but it wasn't my favorite. Now we got this, which is going to do some extra damage and give her a little bonus move speed if she hits an enemy champion. It's going to be nice for her, obviously, because the nice thing with her was being able to shunpo and have some weird mobility tricks. So this will be a nice little mobility trick as well. As we know, we have shunpo still, which is going to move yourself to the target's location. And you're going to deal damage doing it as well. And then after using Shunpo, you gain the 20% reduced damage for 3 seconds, which is always nice, especially when you're going in to activate your ultimate, which, as we know, is Death Lotus. Same name there. And, you know, chucking all those blades to the closest 3 enemies, dealing plenty of damage. So, with a few of these little changes they're doing with her, I think it'll be nice. It'll make her, obviously, I think, a more even champion for newer people to play. I think newer people were having a little bit of difficulty with her because you had to get things off correctly, besides your Death Lotus, really. Especially with how easily it can be blocked by being knocked up or flipped or whatever. You can shut down her ultimate pretty easily. So, hopefully the other things will make her a little more viable champion in some aspects. I will probably play her again. I did have a build for her as well. The build items, I'm guessing, for my build won't hardly change. Maybe just some early stuff will maybe change, but the rest of it, item-wise, is going to stay the same. They didn't really change too much about her. Maybe I'll update it, but worst comes to worst, I'll just get to play her again and maybe make a bit new build, just showcasing some of her new moves and some of that stuff. Moving on, we have Kale, her Righteous Fury. The ability power ratio has been increased by 0.2, which might be nice. Kale's, I don't know. Some people think she's overpowered in some cases. I think she's just about where she should be. We'll see how this affects her, but it's not too much of a change, so I don't think it'll affect too much. Slight changes to Pantheon. Aegis of Xeonia. Slight increase to the speed of the jump. It now places Pantheon slightly in front of the target instead of directly on top of the enemy, which will be a nice little change. Nothing too crazy here, obviously. No number changes, so nothing to worry about in the OP department. As for Shyvana, we have Dragon's Descent. There's been a fix of a bug where Dragon's Descent would hitch on initial use when using skins. That wasn't ever a problem for me, but I could see how that would be a pain. So, that's never a good thing. Next we have Teemo. Good old Teemo. Toxic Shot. The damage on impact has been increased. And, you know what? That's a good thing, because Toxic Shot needed to be increased, in my opinion. Because it just needed to. The poison ability power ratio has been reduced, though. Not by much, so no real worries there. They've also fixed a bug where the poison was lasting longer than intended, and they fixed the damage values will now update correctly when Teemo hits a unit with lower level Toxic Shot poison. So, just some nice updates to Toxic Shot. Hopefully this will make him a little bit, I don't want to say better champion, but hopefully this will make him a little bit nicer to play. Because I like Teemo a lot. Because it's Teemo. How can you not like him? He's so damn cute. A few changes to Varus. Piercing Arrow. They fixed a few small problems with it. It now no longer sometimes fires from a point above his bow. And also they fixed it so it's now more reliable for hitting targets at the end of its long range. And this was a little bit of a problem. It was not always hitting correctly. It was kind of missing, which is not a good thing. It's like the hitbox was just a little off, so hopefully this will make it a little bit more reliable like it says, and you'll be able to get those last hits off with that, which will be very nice. Next we have his Blighted Quiver. The ability power ratio on the Blight stack, its detonation has been increased to 0.02 per stack from 0.01. This will be very nice. That's one of the things that I like about him. This is going to help him in that department just a tiny bit, so that's going to be good. Chain of Corruption, the missile width increased to 100 from 60, and they've increased the missile visibility. Now, some people I talked to thought this was kind of dumb. I completely agree with this change, though. I could never see it in a team fight. It just disappears, especially if you miss it, and it just wasn't really apparent that anything was happening, and so your team was like, oh, why are they not moving? It's because you ulted them, and we should initiate maybe, and maybe should keep fighting. So, this is going to be nice as well. The spread range of the primary target to nearby targets has been increased a little bit, which is nice because it didn't always grab people you thought it should have. And, you know, it just a little bit of an update for Chain of Corruption. So this will be nice. I like Varus as an AD carry, so I'm excited to play some of his new changes. Next we have Ziggs. Oh, they fixed the satchel charges timeout tone. Will now play properly, which is kind of nice. So, a little fix there. Nothing crazy. Next, we have Zyra, who, in case you did not know, they did have to hot patch her between, I think the release of Diana, which, you know, they needed to do. I think in my Skarner build, you can see Hoyt at one point two-shot 2 champions at the same time with his ultimate and something else really, really fast. She had her ratios were a bit high. So they had to fix her a little bit. So we've got her base movement speed has been reduced, which, you know, that's nothing too major there. But she just won't be able to run down your face quite as fast. Rise of Thorns, which is her passive now, properly cancels upon a spell cast or upon its activation. Rampant Growth, destroying the seed no longer breaks the spell shields. Plant selection radius has been increased slightly. Grasping Roots modified the Vein particle to be easier to see, which is nice because a few people were missing that. And then the damage per level has been decreased, as we talked about, with some things just being nerfed. And then Stranglethorns. The damage has been reduced there as well, and so has the cast range. So they had to do some of these changes to her right away She was doing great damage. Obviously, she is really squishy, and I knew a few people who were banning her from higher level play, and also in draft pick, because she was a little overpowered. I'm not seeing that be the case now, which is good. I don't think she should have been. You just needed to focus her right away. She dies pretty quick, as long as nobody's building crazy amounts of health on her, or crazy amounts of armor. But she'll die. Just focus her. Nothing too bad to report there. And then finally, in general, friendless notes are going to allow you to put little notes in people's names. So when you go, you're like, well, who's this person? Why do I know him? Because I have a few random friends on League from, well, YouTube, who I just don't know who they are. Or if somebody I have maybe played a match with that I don't specifically remember, because I have hundreds of friends, then I'll be able to know who they are, maybe where they're from, their actual name instead of their screen name. But it'll be nice to, just put a little tip next to somebody's name, like, hey, this person's good, or this person bothered you in the last game because all they do is play one champion, or I don't know. So that'll be kind of cool. It'll let you, just remember who some people are, especially if I have friended someone randomly in a game who was really good or really nice, because, let's face it, nice people in League of Legends, kind of a rare thing. I had one the other day. It was very, very cool of them to be a nice person. I try to be nice, but, it only goes so far. And then what else do we have? We have update tooltips for Cho'Gath. The main HUD, health, and mana bars will now display regen per second as opposed to regen per 5 seconds. So that'll be a little bit easier to understand for the people who aren't understanding that correctly. As for me, that'll probably just confuse me. They reset the HUD button for the interface options menu will now set the global scale value to the correct amount. They've also fixed the wraiths, and the lesser wraiths no longer state the steal life in the tooltip. So, yeah, just some little changes there. And now some changes in the Proving Grounds. Nexus turrets are back up to 2 of them instead of 1. Some people were really complaining about that. I didn't really care, but that's whatever. Health has been reduced by 900. The armor has been reduced by 20 on those. And the basic attack damage has been reduced, which is kind of nice because they hit like freaking trucks. So, yeah, they were painful. So, those are all the changes in this patch. Not too many, but some very, very nice ones for some champions that were getting updates. And just some all-around nice changes that'll hopefully make the game a little bit nicer to play. Other than that, guys, that's going to be it for this patch notes. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already done that, but I'm guessing you have because that's the smart thing to do. Other than that, guys, I'll just see all of you in the next video.